Hello everyone and welcome back to coverage of Grand Prix Xai-Xai for the MSEM format. I'm Caillou, and today we're going to be watching the round 5 match between Cyber Chronometer and Wizzerinus, both of whom are currently 4-0 in the GP right now. They're already guaranteed top cut, but this match is to decide who's going to get top seed going into the top cut. So Wizzerinus is playing quote-unquote modern Jund. That's because they think that this Mardu list, Mardu midrange list, is pretty similar to what modern Jund is. That's because it has a lot of good hand attack, its very own Lily of the Veil in Lord Ricard Dawson, and some pretty strong threats in Ruin Delver. Also runs one of the first mates, Tabia, who is a potent threat and can also act as repeated removal in her own right if your opponent doesn't have a good answer. Cyber is going to have a bunch of answers, though, because Cyber is playing Bant Control. This was originally, I believe Cyber was originally running this list as a heart attack control list, which uses Children of the Clouds plus Heart of Zadina. Still has that combo in here, but also has some cool backup win cons, and is running, of all things, a Johnny Resolute, which is a Planeswalker, which, despite being a 4-ability Planeswalker, hasn't seen much play. Tamiyo Lunar Arcanist, which is a very strong source of card advantage, and also just kind of has the best removal in the format with stuff like End of All Things, Out of Body Experience, and can do some crazy stuff. In one previously recorded game, Cyber used Epic Encounter to find Chikyu Champion off the side and hardcast it. Also has Cower and Bahum off the side as main deckable hate pieces, or, well, main deckable with Epic Encounter. And yeah, also is running some of the best removal in the format, and also has a secret tech of Enlightenment, which is a 3-mana enchantment that whenever you activate an ability of a permanent you control that isn't a mana ability, you can exile it and then return to the battlefield at the beginning of that control, beginning of its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step, which is very good with stuff like Terraformer's Globe and Tamiyo herself. But yeah, we're getting into it. Cyber has turn 1 hold up Out of Body Experience, turn 2 Epic Encounter, and then can Epic Encounter. One thing that Epic Encounter is also good for is that you play it as a way to consistently get Heart of Zadina, because you can just grab one copy from the side, and when you have the Children of Clouds in your hand, you probably want to do that. Also has End of All Things, so you kind of want to try and curve out here. You don't want to play the Monument of Queens anytime on curve yet. So you're going to play probably turn 1 Wayfarers, turn 2 Monastery, and then Nebula for the last color. Wizzerinus is going to run out double fetch. Doesn't have to worry about their life total because they're in a control matchup. And by getting 2 fetches into the grave, this Ruin Delver is going to turn into 2-1 Menace that immediately draws Wizzerinus 2 cards. And yeah, at that point, Wizzerinus will be down to 14 life and having dealt themselves 6 damage in their first 2 turns. But it doesn't matter because, again, Cyber's deck is not a proactive one. It's a way more reactive. So life is a resource, and Wizzerinus is about to prove it. So Ruin Delver coming down. Oh my god, and drawing into double Idyllic Odyssey. Idyllic Odyssey is one of the very strong 1-mana enchantment threats that are actually playing quite strongly in the format. Does have an answer to it in Ostracizer Orb, and the thing is, the funny part is, Wizzerinus' own Ostracizer Orb won't be able to take it because Ostracizer Orb says non-artifact. So, but yeah, double Idyllic Odyssey is pretty filthy. Of course, without an artifact to be able to turn it on, it's a little worse. So Wizzerinus is praying that Cyber drops well, Cyber can't actually drop anything that can be grabbed. You're praying that Cyber drops an embodied soul, basically. But instead, Cyber is going to play the Nebula, is going to Ostracizer Orb on the Ruin Delver. Interesting. I'm surprised that Cyber isn't saving. I feel like you can Epic Encounter and just try to go over what Wizzerinus is doing, but yeah. And also, using the flexible removal instead of the point-and-click creature removal feels a little bit weird, but I guess is thinking that out-of-body experience only trades down 1 power. End of All Things is also available as flexible removal. Well, Wizzerinus now having the Pithwilt, unlike Ostracizer Orb, this will be able to kill Cyber's Ostracizer Orb, is going to play, plays Idyllic Odyssey, but isn't going to run out the Pit Wilt on the opposing Ostracizer Orb, is going to play the Sunlit Highland tapped? Feels weird to me. I guess wants to run out double Idyllic this turn, and then next turn Ostracizer Orb something. And yeah, now Cyber is in a bit of a pickle, because has End of All Things to be able to exile one of the Idyllic Odysseys, but not the other. And again, the fact that it makes a Merfolk on ETB is quite strong, because now, while the Merfolks do bite it to Children of the Clouds, they're still going to chip in for some good damage before then on their own, even if Cyber manages to answer their Engine enchantment. Cyber top decking that card Enlightenment that I mentioned earlier, but doesn't have anything that works with it, so it's surprisingly dead at this point. Cyber playing the Ocean Monastery tapped and passing. I'm surprised that Cyber isn't going to keep this up to End of All Things, but I guess with the Merfolks on table is worried about life total getting pressured, but I almost feel like End of All Things saves you more life if you manage to Idyllic Odyssey at the right moment, or take out Idyllic Odyssey at the right moment. Okay, Profane Emissary for Wizzerinus. 4/4 Life Linker is pretty good. Okay, he's going to Ostracizer Orb, but did Wizzerinus miss the non-artifact part of this? Wizzerinus did. Wizzerinus, unfortunately, somehow got to be 4/0 without being able to read their own cards. So, is going to have to exile one of their own permanents. That's a huge misplay from Wizzerinus. Targets one of their own Idyllic Odysseys. Playing the Ostracizer Orb still does turn on the other Idyllic Odyssey, though. The problem is, with Wizzerinus removing one of their own Idyllic Odysseys, Cyber's like, well, I have End of All Things for the other one. Pretty cool. So Wizzerinus does get a single Idyllic Odyssey trigger, buffs up the Merfolk to a 2/2, swings in for 3, and bumps up back to 16. Okay, Profane Emissary is going to come down. Wizzerinus is not worried about overextending. I think, what are the wipes that Cyber has to main? Has Setting Sun, which just destroys all creatures. I was thinking that if Cyber was running the 5-mana wipe End of Days. Wait, what did Cyber Out of Body Experience on? Oh, on the Profane Emissary, duh. So Profane Emissary gets exiled before it can become a 4/4 lifelink. I was thinking that if Cyber had an End of Days, End of Days, then there would actually be a precarious position because it would have to name Artifact to save both of the Ostracizer Orbs, and that could leave some opening. Okay, Riademian Charm for Wizzerinus. Meanwhile, Cyber just keeping stuff up. Cyber had a pretty good start even with that misplay from Wizzerinus, but I think the problem is Wizzerinus is just getting a bigger and bigger board. Cyber needs to draw into a wipe here. Does Cyber have a tutorable wipe? Cyber has a tutorable wipe in Marie Dawn Resurgent. So if Cyber top decks another land at some point in the next 2 turns, can Epic Encounter next turn for Marie, and then play it 2 turns from now. Is going to End of All Things on the Elemental on Idyllic Odyssey in response to the trigger. Okay, that scans. So like we mentioned a while back, End of All Things just answers the other Idyllic Odyssey. So yep, Idyllic Odyssey heads off. Cyber still gets clonked in for 4. Is on just shy of a 2-turn clock there. On end, Cyber's going to fetch up something with the Ocean Monastery. Yes, Stalwart Dominion for the perfect fixing. Setting Sun. That's actually, well, yeah, you don't need to tutor up a board wipe if you just top deck your board wipe. So Setting Sun going to come down, take out the Merfolk and the Elemental. Wizzerinus still has a worrying amount of card advantage here, though. On end step is going to Pit Wilt to get back the Ruin Delver and gets to draw a card off of it. I can actually sack a Plains to draw another card if Wizzerinus wants to. I don't think they will because wants to keep... Okay, no wait, now that they have the Spiraling Canyon, might actually sacrifice a Plains. Because can still have Tabia mana next turn while drawing an extra card. Yeah, he's going to sack the Plains, draws into Void Flare, gives some reach. I actually think, so if you play Void Flare on end, deals 2 damage to face, Ruin Delver hits in for 2, Riademian Charm hits in for another 2, so not enough. Okay, Inishtu is also going to... Inishtu plus is going to keep... Yeah, Inishtu is just going to keep up the pressure there, huh? Yeah. Isn't going to flip anytime soon, but still, just as another 2-3. Okay, he's going to tap 4, tap out for Tabia of the Lionheart. And that's lethal next turn unless Cyber has a removal spell. And I think Cyber's probably going to Epic Encounter for Marie here as an out. If Cyber Epic Encounters for Heart of Zadina, taps Heart of Zadina, will get 6 mana, so can play Children of the Clouds for X equals 5. No, okay, he's just going to pass. I guess he's planning to just cast Children of the Clouds naturally. For X equals 5. And then eat both Tabia and Ruin Delver, while also going back up to 10. I think an interesting play would be Rhea Demian Charm in response to the Fetch Crack. It wouldn't actually do anything here, but I think that Rhea Demian Charm being an instant is something I feel like is rarely considered, and I think that it's an interesting play to try, at the very least. But yeah, Children of the Clouds for X equals 5 going to come down. In response, Wiz can actually win the game, I just realized. Rhea Demian Charm and then Void Flare on face. Yeah, no stabilizing for you. And yeah, Wizzerinus was firmly in the driver's seat for most of that game, despite making read the card type misplay. Just the problem is stuff like Ruin Delver and the Idyllic Odysseys just generated too much value for Cyber's deck to keep up with, and Cyber just wasn't even generating good card advantage in the interim. Is the problem. They needed to be doing something on their off turns and just didn't have any of their quote-unquote proactive cards like Tameo. So out the board. Okay, so looking at sideboards, let's start off with Cyber. On Cyber's end of things, Sigil of Radiance, maybe. I don't think it's that great. Bahum, as being able to exile artifacts and enchantments, could be relevant. Stand is saleable because of how much burn and stuff that Wiz's deck leverages. You can see 1x of Bahum, 1x of Stand, or maybe 2x of Stand, but I think mostly Cyber's main deck is good for this matchup, just has to draw the right cards at the right time. Meanwhile, on Wiz's end, Pitwill to be able to take out anything from an Ostracizer Orb to a Tameo seems like a good play. Conspiracy of Ravens, I guess. Conspiracy of Ravens and Prying Inquiry. And I like Seal the Tomb along with those. I'm not sure how much siding is oversighting, so I think it comes down to how interactive Wiz wants to go versus proactive, is basically the question that Wiz needs to ask themselves. And looking at opening hands here, this time a lot more linear of a hand for Cyber. Doesn't have to worry about a second copy of Tameo, since you can just discard it to -2ing on your first. And as long as Cyber hits a third land, it's a pretty good curve. You have turn 1 Embodied Soul, turn 2 Ostracizer Orb on a problematic permanent, turn 3 Tameo, and then turn 4 Ajani. So yeah, Ocean Monastery going out. Could just, yeah, okay, so he's going to get the planes to play the Embodied Soul turn. I was going to say could just get the Tricolor land, perhaps, but no, really wants this on curve. Wiz is just also going to play something on curve. He's going to drop the Conspiracy of Ravens. I could see Cyber just Ostracizer Orbing this, because you're going to lose a card anyways, and do you care about losing Ostracizer Orb? I almost feel like you just Ostracizer Orb this unless you get something better to do on turn 2. Not drawing a land there actually hurts Cyber a lot, and / could be a problem. But yeah, Ostracizer Orb just going to come down, yoink the Conspiracy of Ravens. This Embodied Soul gets pumped up. Which ability is Cyber going to give it? Presumably Lifelink to start off with, I'd imagine. Giving it Flying first, interesting. Okay, yoinks the Conspiracy Ravens. I could see the reason for that being if you don't draw another land and need a play next turn, and let's say Wiz untaps and plays Inishtu, or didn't have the Inishtu, but unfortunately commentators cursed it into existence, so Inishtu going to be coming down, and this is looking really bad for Cyber here already. Before, Wiz didn't have any plays until turn 3, but now Inishtu being able to come down Oh, that was looking scary, but Shifting Glade coming down perfectly in time. And yeah, I can play Tameo and then draw 4, discard 1. Can also +1 to untap a land so that Embodied Soul can be animated and block Inishtu, but that doesn't make sense because Inishtu is a 2/3, so no. Oh, Cyber misses the Embodied Soul trigger. Oh, I guess is trying to do it as like out of order sequencing. Okay, it gives it lifelink. I guess did it before the scry, so it doesn't actually have additional information. Okay, yeah, so now it's going to do the scry out. Okay, I'm surprised about the lack of the -2, but I guess the idea... But you don't want to trade the Embodied Soul with the Inishtu, so I don't get what the point of this is. Meanwhile, it looks like Inishtu is going to swing in at Tameo. I feel like at least if you're going to untap a land, just swing in with Embodied Soul there. I don't understand this play from Cyber, honestly. I don't know what untapping the land and leaving up the Embodied Soul plays around. Cyber's going to animate the Embodied Soul. Before blockers, it looks like Wiz is going to Reademian Charm to destroy it. Oh, I forgot it's a 1/1 base. So, it's a 1/1 base, so it's actually a 3/3 flying lifelink. That explains it a lot more. It doesn't start out as 0/0. Okay. And then the Reademian Charm coming down to destroy, using the first mode to destroy it. Tameo comes down. Then, okay, lots of Cyber's plays make a lot more sense when I understand that Embodied Soul is a 3/3 in that space. Wiz also missed the Surveil trigger off Inishtu, which is kind of annoying. Also, this Inishtu is going to have anti-synergy with Ruin Delver if Wiz wants to drop that next turn to draw 2 cards. Okay, Cyber drawing another land. Again, perfect timing. Can drop the Ajani. I almost wonder if you wanted to Tameo -2 there to try and find an answer for Inishtu first. Oh, but I guess Ajani is the answer. He's going to -3 Ajani to Path to Exile the Inishtu. Okay, Wiz top decking a pay up has enough mana to be able to pay up into Tiny Hero and Toddy. So yeah, pay up coming down. Cyber's tapped out. I think Cyber can pretty confidently just discard a land here and give Wiz the treasure token. But also that there are worries about, like, if you give your opponent the treasure token and they have, Idyllic Odyssey, then the treasure token enables Concord by itself. But in that case, if they had an Idyllic Odyssey, wouldn't they have played it earlier, etc., etc. So yeah, no, Cyber's just going to give them a treasure, discard the Wayfarer Shrine. I didn't see what Wiz named. Wiz named Tameo, and Cyber decided to keep it. Makes sense. When did Tameo die? Did I miss something? I feel like I missed something. Cyber -2 Tameo last turn. My bad. And just drew a bunch of lands. Okay. Looks like Cyber did side in the stand unassailable. Is going to play the Mysterious Cataract untapped? Yeah, because then you can cast Tameo and stand unassailable the same turn. Okay. And probably wants to Tameo first and then try to find an answer for Toddy before Toddy can find a 2-drop. So yeah, imagine you Tameo -2 here. Draw 3 cards, discard 3. Yep. Draws 2 more lands and a Setting Sun. Probably just discard a Sedate Tundra. And then tap 2, crack this, find something, stand unassailable, just for the mana. A Johnny Resolute, just to gain 2 life, is keeping... I don't know why you're keeping up the mana. I guess just to make it look like Cyber has something? But I feel like just using your mana efficiently is just as important. And I don't know that signaling something actually helps here. Okay, it looks like Wiz is going to -4 Toddy, going to find something with CMC 2. Oh, actually can't cast Unassailable. I forgot that Toddy has a static. Because of the Leonin Arbiter static, Cyber can't use the Mysterious Cataract right now to do anything. Okay, Inishtu going to come down. I think you just surveil this, play Barren Desolation, crack it. Did Wiz play a land this turn? Wiz did not. You just put it into grave, play the Barren Desolation, crack it. You don't play the Ruin Delver this turn. On upkeep next turn, Inishtu flips, and then you can play Ruin Delver. Yeah, this is a deadly situation for Cyber. Has to find an answer for Inishtu pretty soon. You have the setting sun as kind of in case of emergency crack glass type button. Okay, Cyber's going to play the Sedate Tundra. Terraformer's Globe, just a cantrip real quick to try and find a removal spell for Inishtu. Yep, Terraformer's Globe coming down. But just getting another fetch land, not what you want to see here. Yeah, I honestly think Cyber has just got to drop Setting Sun here. It sucks to have to 1-for-1, but you start going so behind if Inishtu is ever allowed, if Wiz is ever allowed to untap with Inishtu. +1's Tamiyo. Probably should have done this before playing the Terraformer's Globe, to be honest. Bottom's another land. Cyber's getting a little flooded right now, despite all of the card selection. Okay, -1's a Johnny to make a cat. So isn't going to Setting Sun this turn? I think that's a huge punt. Oh my god, he's just going to pass. Did Cyber forget that Inishtu's backside, has Indestructible? I'm trying to figure out what the play is here. So yeah, Inishtu coming down, 4/5 Indestructible with a pretty relevant ability. I know Cyber has exile removal, but this feels a little worrisome, I'm not gonna lie. And I think with Wiz on 2 cards in hand, casting the Setting Sun there is entirely acceptable. So yeah, I'm a little suspicious of Cyber's logic there, unless I'm missing something. And yeah, now Wiz can freely run out the Ruin Delver, exile 2 lands, draw 2 cards, gas back up. So yep, ooh, Ostracizer Orb, pretty good here because I think you just take Tamiyo. Oh, and an Idyllic Odyssey to boot. Everything's coming together for Wiz right now. See, this is literally perfect. You just play Ostracizer Orb, yoinking Tamiyo so that Cyber can't -2 next turn. And then Ostracizer Orb, you can put a counter on Inishtu so that it just keeps growing into, so that you gain 5 life this turn, or something ridiculous. So, yeah, this is... And I guess Cyber thought as well, I can stall with Children of the Clouds tokens because Inishtu doesn't have evasion, but also does still have the activated ability, plus Wiz is going to be getting a bunch of life. I don't know how I feel about not just pulling the trigger on the Setting Sun last turn. Maybe it's a playing to win versus playing to lose thing, but I don't think it is. Ruin Delver doesn't have haste. Can't do that. Cyber points out that Ruin Delver does not have haste. So yeah, Inishtu just still going to go face. Cyber presumably thinking of whether to Children of the Clouds here just to chump the Inishtu. I don't think it's worth it. I guess Cyber's thought is, as long as I can protect a Johnny for 2 more turns, or not even 3, for 3 more turns, then I'm safe from Inishtu, but Inishtu can still... I mean, I guess clogging up the board does do a lot, but Wizzerinus also has a Riademian Charm, so I'm not sure how good the plan of just Children of the Clouds forehead is. So yeah, Cyber's just going to take 5, and I feel like Wiz just main 2 Ostracizer Orb Tamiyo is the best play. So yep, just drops the Ostracizer Orb, and yep, is going to use it to grab Tamiyo. No more card draw for you. And yeah, Cyber isn't exactly in a bad position, but is definitely a little scary right now. Still has a bunch of life gain with Children of the Clouds plus stand unassailable. So it's going to Terraformer's Globe to turn the Mysterious Cataract into just a basic cast Children of the Clouds X equals 5 on end. Okay, go back up to 18. Enlightenment top deck for Cyber is pretty good here. Using that, I don't know if you use that on a Terraformer's Globe this turn, or I guess you can actually wait. It's just it is once each turn. I could see an argument for using it on a Johnny to bring him back next turn with 4 counters on him so that he can -3 Inishtu. The other option is Terraformer Globe to draw a card, but Enlightenment on a Johnny is a guaranteed kill Inishtu next turn. A Johnny's +1 is also quite good with the bird tokens. It looks like Cyber's going to play fast and loose with their life total. Oh, swinging in for 3. The thing is, Toddy makes it hard for this to actually matter. Toddy being also... Oh, he's just going to kill Toddy right here. That makes sense. That way Toddy can't start to +1 to get more gnomes on the battlefield. And then main 2, presumably, so yeah, Cyber's just going to cast a stand unassailable. And this is looking pretty bad for Wiz. Doesn't have doesn't have any cards in hand, does have the Initiative, the ever-growing Initiative, and the Idyllic Odyssey also helps, but like, again, Ajani is going to come down next turn, -3 to exile Initiative, and then Cyber can also coalesce stand unassailable next turn. Yeah, Wiz just hits a land off the top deck. Not what you want to see right now. Does Wiz have anything that does something from grave? Nope. It's just going to pay 4 to turn Bygone Guardian into an actual creature. I think... Oh, this is actually interesting. Oh, this is a problem for Cyber. Because Cyber, if Wiz Idyllic Odyssey is on the Merfolk and then swings everything at Ajani... oh, okay, never mind. I was going to say, because if Wiz had put this on the Merfolk, then could have just swung with everything at Ajani, and then Cyber wouldn't have been able to stop Ajani from going to less than 3 loyalty. And it's not even swinging the Merfolk, so Cyber will actually get to keep Ajani at 4 and then still -3. So Cyber, I'm assuming, just sacks 1 bird, 2 bird, and then you put 2 birds on Ruin Delver, and then you put like cat, bird. So Cyber is willing to trade, I think, all of this board just to have Ajani -3 on Initiative, is my read. Because then you can just untap, attack, and Setting Sun. And then I guess Wiz still has Bygone Guardian. That is annoying. But then you can Enlightenment to make it so that even if Bygone Guardian deals 3 damage to Ajani, Ajani will still go to 1, and then you can +1 and Enlightenment it up again so that it can never die to just a Bygone Guardian. At least that's my read. Actually, I guess you can Idyllic Odyssey... Oh, you can Idyllic Odyssey on the Bygone Guardian. That actually becomes a problem for Cyber very quickly. So yep, all blocked as predicted. Really what Cyber needs right now is an answer to the Idyllic Odyssey. Everything else is pretty trivial. Okay, so Wiz doesn't lose anything there. Or sorry, Wiz loses the Ruin Delver, but still keeps the Bygone Guardian Initiative. Also gains 3 life. I don't know if Wiz ended up remembering to gain 3 life off of the Ruin Delver because it was life linked up thanks to Idyllic Odyssey. I don't know why Wiz keeps playing their fetches untapped, even though they're out of cards in hand, so it's not a real bluff and they don't have anything to do with it until next upkeep, but yeah, I don't know. So on end gets to Flicker Globe because Enlightenment is once each turn, not once on each of your turns. So it's pretty potent as a draw 2 each turn cycle, or even a draw 1 each turn cycle is quite good. Okay, Tamiyo is okay, but not great. It is certainly more card advantage to dig for another threat or a removal spell for Idyllic Odyssey, though. Bygone Guardian is no longer a creature, yeah. Epic Encounter has some possibilities. Notably, I think Epic Encounter grab Bahum and then minus Bahum on Bygone Guardian, and that is hilariously fun because you Ajani Resolute on the Initiative, you Bahum on the Bygone Guardian. All that's left is a Merfolk, which is a 2/2, which can then trade with one of the birds. Yeah, I really like Epic Encountering here for Bahum. Tamiyo is actually going to come down instead, though. And immediately -2, yep. So draws 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards. And damn, Wizzerinus is just going to concede on the spot to the draw 5. I think Wiz probably still had outs / could put themselves in a favorable position. But I mean, staring down a control player with 7 cards in hand versus you with no cards in hand is pretty painful. Especially when your main methods of burning them out through Initiative or whatever are pretty useless when they have a stand unassailable engrave, etc., and they already have like 25 life. So, yeah, I think Wiz is just conceding there to keep up mental stamina and speed things along going into this game 3. Okay, getting into game 3. Looks like Wiz brought in Admonish, interestingly enough. It's pretty good as a gotcha option. is going to have turn 1 pay up, turn 2 admonish, but doesn't really have a very good proactive game plan here. At least until turn 4 with the Tabby. I think this is a little bit of a... I'm not sure about this keep. Meanwhile, Cyber also has a kind of an interesting keep. Nothing really interactive. Has stand unassailable. Yeah, I think Cyber's actually fine discarding Enlightenment. It doesn't actually do anything here. Cyber has turn 2 stand unassailable, turn 3 recall Forgotten Aeons, just try to kind of outvalue Wiz, which honestly could work here since Wiz has no plays until turn 4 as of now. So Cyber, yeah, Stalwart Domain turn 1, just play your tap lands out. And unless Wiz like top decks a 2-drop, well, Ostracizer Orb doesn't really count as a 2-drop right here. Plays Barren Desolation and pass, probably trying to spook out, or I guess Admonish can actually, Admonish can actually counter the stand unassailable. I don't know that it's worth it, but it would be kind of hilarious. I think you more want to counter the recall Forgotten Aeons, if anything. Okay, Cyber gonna Wayfarer Shrine. Any basic will do here, but you probably want double white for, yeah, it gets a double white just in case hits a setting sun. Gonna play stand unassailable. Wiz is gonna let that resolve smartly, and then just pass. On end, Wiz is gonna crack the Barren Desolation, presumably. Oh, just gets a Plains? I feel like if you're cracking it on your opponent's end, you want to get like Bygone Guardian or something. There's no reason not to get Bygone Guardian there. Xanagan, that's a 5-drop. Still doesn't have any reasonable plays here. Plays the Sunlit Highland tapped. Has Admonish up for the RFE here, though. And that is gonna honestly buy Wiz a lot of time. Like, it's gonna be weirdly really good. Like, Cyber has nothing but lands and its Children of the Clouds, and that RFE was their main hope of actually getting back into this game. Well, getting back into, but I mostly mean like it's their main like it's so important for them here because they play RFE, they ramp up to 4, they ramp once, they draw 2 cards, and it gets them closer to a big Children of the Clouds. And yeah, Cyber's just gonna roll it out, and yeah, this is a snap Admonish from Wizzerinus. What crazy sideboard tech. And yeah, now Wiz gets to untap and play Tabby of the Lionheart right here. And Cyber is not in a great position. It brought in the Seismic Colossi from the side. Interesting. Doesn't have Concord right now, though, so it's not going to be useful. So yeah, it's just going to be Tabia coming down here as a threat. And Cyber really doesn't have a way to answer this. If Cyber doesn't hit anything else, he's just going to have to start Monument of Queensing up. Terraformer's Globe is not awful. The question is, do you play Monument of Queens and start pumping it, or do you Terraformer's Globe here? I feel like digging one more with the Terraformer's Globe is probably worth it. So yeah, he's going to do that. Terraformer's Globe coming down. Embodied Soul, also not awful. It's not great either, though. Cyber doesn't really have any other non-creature spells to use with this. I don't think there's any reason not to play it here. Okay, he's still not going to play it for some reason. Oh, and Inishtu is pretty dirty here. Interesting that Wizzerinus chose not to... Oh, actually, the reason not to play Embodied Soul, is because of Tabia. It doesn't have a removal spell for Tabia yet. So that was really dumb for me to say that there's no reason not to play Embodied Soul. There's a big reason. And yeah, main 2... just going to play out Inishtu. And unless this is a land on top, I think you just ditch it immediately to put yourself one step closer to the 7 threshold. Yep, is going to ditch the Stolen Secrets. Doesn't really need it at this point in the game. And yeah, this game is rapidly getting out of hand for Cyber. I don't know how they put themselves back in it is the issue. Well, I changed my mind. Setting Sun is actually a great way of doing so. That was an immaculate, insane top deck. Cyber, I think, is deciding, do I play out Embodied Soul first and to get a counter on it and risk myself getting blown out by Admonish? Or do I just play the Setting Sun with 1 mana up? I feel like you lose so hard if Wiz has the second Admonish here. So I feel, yeah, you just play the Setting Sun first. Yep. The amount of psychic damage that Admonish did earlier. Yeah, that's a great 2-for-1, and now is still not going to play the Embodied Soul, I guess, is afraid of a removal spell. And But that 5th land top deck from Wiz, perfect. Xanagan is going to come down. And with no pressure on board, I really think that Wiz can -3 here. And then just draw 3 more cards. Because versus control, that card advantage is so good. Especially when you're sitting with 2 ostensibly dead cards in hand. Like the Ostracizer Orb and the Seismic Colossus are doing nothing on this board state. Yup, is going to -3. Ooh, that's actually a pretty bad -3. 2 lands and a pay up. And Cyber is presumably going to untap here. I think if you're Cyber, you just pump up Monument of Queens and then swing in for 1 to kill Xanagan. Okay, plays Embodied Soul first. And yep, Monument of Queens pump. And just nips in to kill Zanny. There she goes. And now Wiz in kind of a tough spot. You probably pay... Oh, Riademian Charm is actually insane here. Riademian Charm is so good. Yeah, I think you play Riademian Charm, discarding pay up in a land, play a land tapped. He's going to pay up first, though. I think that Cyber probably wants to keep the Recall Forgotten Aeons and doesn't mind giving Wiz the artifact. Oh, okay. I think if you're Cyber, you just discard the Children of the Clouds. No, Cyber's going to discard the Recall Forgotten Aeons. Interesting. This is a lot of stuff I'm not sure I agree with. I guess Children of the Clouds is playable right now for X = 5 and is pretty strong in that capacity. But I think that you really want the RFE to be able to draw into a land. And then at that point, once you hit 7 lands, it's just off to the races. Because of the other RFE in grave, other stand saleable in grave. So I really think that playing the RFE there was the call. Wiz gonna play Ostracizer Orb to yoink the Terraformer's Glow. Or sorry, not that. The Embodied Soul. Has 2 types now. Doesn't have a way to get 2 more to get Seismic Colossus, but is getting there in lands. In 2 turns plus 1 more land, we'll be able to Seismic Colossus. And yeah, having every fetch be... I was going to say having every fetch be a threat is really good, but Wiz, despite playing Bygone Guardian last game, is not going to get... It looks like he's going to try and Riademian on draw step. Cyber, in response to the Riademian... Yeah, Cyber's just going to Children of the Clouds in response to the Riademian. I don't know what Wiz is trying to stop here. And now Cyber knows that one of the cards in Wiz's hand is a Riademian Charm. Yeah, like, it's much better to Riademian Charm and use the wipe mode to kill all the tokens than it is to try and discard here, because then you just get blown out. And now Cyber knows to play around it. Wiz has been making a lot of mistakes this match. And I don't know, this one could be the one that costs them the entire set. Cyber top decks the 7th land, can now RFE or stand in saleable, can coalesce basically anything in their graveyard if they want to. But instead is just going to play the Mysterious Cataract tapped and pass. I feel like you just played that untapped since you have the Children of the Clouds. Why are you playing that tapped? There's literally no reason to do that. Oh, Dawson is actually an insane pull for Wiz here. Yeah, in response to the +1, you just have to Children of the Clouds here. And the scary part here is that because you're forced to Children of the Clouds right there, Riademian Charm comes down and then kills it, and then Cyber won't be able to kill Ricard on the crackback because can't pump Monument of Queens twice. Though I guess the just untapping and casting an RFE is pretty not bad as another way to apply pressure. And yep, while Cyber's tapped out, it's just going to Riademian Charm to destroy all the birds. And again, still has a fetch land to find a creature land off of, which again, Wiz should have played that untapped to be able to do that. And as soon as Wiz hits an 8th land, Seismic Colossus is a beating. Setting Sun top deck for Cyber. Not really going to need that right now, but for now I think no reason not to just crack the Mysterious Cataract to get an untapped land, and then start coalescing. Actually, it doesn't even need to crack the Cataract because of Terraformer's Globe. Fair cash. And here comes Recall Forgotten Aeons. Yep. So it draws 2 cards. Can't play either of them right now, but Epic Encounter is really good at this stage of the game due to its flexibility. On upkeep, Wiz is going to crack the Sunlit Highland. If Wizzerinus should get a creature land now, bleh. No, is she going to get Swamp? Oh, does have the Sunlit Highland now, though. Seismic Colossus is just going to get eaten by Recall Forgotten Aeons, though. Tries to cast Seismic Colossus for 5. Am I crazy, or does not have the types? Oh, Tribal. Tribal, because of Polypools, does have 4 types for Seismic Colossus. Oh, and because of the Xanagan emblem actually coming in clutch. It's because Seismic Colossus is 6/6 and therefore can't be killed by RFE. Cyber's just going to take 6, Wiz is going to gain 6. Oh, that's actually huge. It buys Wiz precious time. And then is going to +1 Ricard to force Cyber to discard a card. I think you just discard the Terraformer's Globe. Yeah, Globe is just a cantripper there. Okay, does play the Sunlit Highland untapped. Hopefully this time remembers to get a creature land. Okay, Cyber hitting another land. What can Cyber Epic Encounter for here that's actually useful? I'm not sure, to be honest. Has 8 lands. You can Epic Encounter for... I'm just thinking Epic Encounter just for, like, what can you find at this point in the game? Is going to throw the Recall Forgotten Aeons at Ricky D. Because of the static, Cyber just has to pay 2 life. But yeah, so it's going to be... Does Wiz... So yeah, Wiz is just going to let Dawson die. The Colossus sticks around. Are there any legendary removal spells that... Actually, yeah, can Epic Encounter for Bahum. Because the Seismic Colossus is a... The Seismic Colossus is an artifact. Yeah, I think that might be the right play. Just Epic Encounter for Bahum. The problem is, if Wiz then grabs a creature land, can crack on the crackback attack and kill Bahum, and then the creature land is a little bit annoying for Cyber to answer, but can just keep back I guess can just keep back an RFE. Yeah, at that point you just keep back an RFE, and then just keep coalescing stuff. So yeah, I think you just Epic Encounter for a Bahum here. Or Cower. I think Cower also takes care of... But no, Cower takes care of non-creature permanents, I think. So Bahum is the call. Yep, Bahum coming down. Cast in Bahum. Instant -2 to take care of the Seismic Colossus. Yep. And on end, will Wiz find the creature land? Finally, maybe? Hey, finally finds the Bygone Guardian. And can actually use it to take care of Bahum on the untap. Wiz just top-decking land, not great. But can just pay 4 here to Bygone Guardian. Bahum tragically dies. And Wiz has... Oh, Wiz has a WOP... Oh my... I think this is actually kind of a punt by Wiz to not play the Swamp. Because you can play Bygone Guardian as a blocker if you need it. Maybe it doesn't matter, but... Cyber on upkeep is going to crack both of the fetches. Interesting. Okay, yeah, I guess just wants a little bit of thinning there. I don't know if Cyber has utility lands, per se. No? Just Pool of Light and a Shifting Glade. One more land gives Cyber double Monument of Queen's Pump. Yeah, there we go. Heart of Zadina gives way more than double Monument of Queen's Pump. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 mana off of Heart of Zadina, plus 5 more. So, yeah, that's a lot of mana. So has a whopping 14 mana available. So can actually, can double Coalesce this turn. Can Coalesce both Stand Unassailable and Recall Forgotten Aeons. That is filthy. So yep, gonna start off by coalescing the Recall Forgotten Aeons. Oh, and is not actually gonna coalesce the Stand Unassailable. It's just gonna pump Monument of Queens and swing for 7 here. Oh, actually has a treasure to animate Bygone Guardian. I guess can block an RFE. Wiz for not reading the card, it has flying. So Bygone Guardian can't block Monument of Queens. I'm pretty sure Wiz is just dead next turn. Because even if they ground block, Cyber can triple pump Monument of Queens for a total of 9 damage. So basically exactly lethal. Or sorry, a total of 10 damage. It needs a removal spell top deck here. And pay up is not it. That's game! And with that, in a grueling, more than hour-long set, Cyber takes it 2-1, and with a perfect 5-0 score in the Swiss round, is going to advance into Top Cut with the first seed. So what a performance by Cyber. They've been playing with this deck this Bant Heart Attack deck for a while, and I think it's pretty impressive. And I think in a time of both a variety of threats and a lot of threats at a cheap price, Cyber has managed to succeed with a control deck, and not only that, a control deck that chooses to go big. And no worries, Wiz is still going to be making a top cut, uh, and still has potentially, depending on their performance, a chance for the rematch. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching. This was an amazing set, and I'm hoping that we see more of both of these decks, or see both these decks shine in the top cut. But until then, this is going to be Caillou, very tired after that long set, signing off.